What up, Street Talk, Street Gods, DBZ Togs, Eric Kim in the house. So I'm playing for eternity. Yeah, some big thoughts. Orange and red, huh? That's the color of a Dragon Ball. Maybe that's a virtuous color. Traffic. Okay, so there is no traffic in cyberspace. So what is one thing that all humans universally agree on is we do not like traffic. So what are the problems with traffic? We don't like movement being restricted. And I think the whole promise of like free borders and stuff like that is predicated upon the idea of free movement. It's tricky because I think pragmatically, you know, the idea of a border or a state or a nation state is based on borders. At the same time, I think we're rich enough. Just let the productive immigrants in. I mean, like, we didn't let Elon in, we wouldn't have had, you know, Tesla, SpaceX, you know, all this greatness. Even Trump, his family originally, I think dad and mom was like either like Swedish or Irish, or I essentially forget which. So essentially we are a nation of immigrants. I mean, even like, come on, think about like Australia, right? It's like a penal colony. Penal means punishment. So yeah, the originally the British degens were sent there as punishment, and now Melbourne real estate seems pretty good, but also not good. Okay, so the reason why Bitcoin is a big deal, I still think I need to philosophize more about cyberspace. Maybe I'll read William Gibson, the neuromancer. So I think the reason why cyberspace is difficult to imagine, I mean, I think I'm like pretty well positioned to think about this because, you know, I'm essentially was raised as a cyber kid, or a digital native as they call it. I mean, I'll never forget my first Acer Aspire Pentium 1 MMX processor. You remember the dudes with the dancing little outfits on? 1 gigabyte hard drive. I don't even know how many RAM it had. And unbeknownst to me, it was actually a 38.8K modem, not a 56K modem. So I would always be dropped on AOL 3.0. I remember the CD. Like, dialing up to the internet was like effing magical. Like, you know, for any 11, 12-year-old kid who tried to figure out how to connect to the web when your parents obviously had no idea what this thing was kind of nothing short of magic. And actually the funny thing too is, like, you know, we smart kids, right? You know, you kind of convince our parents that we need it for school, but secretly we just want to play games. You remember Yahoo Pool was the one. But anyways, so I think the reason all of this matters is because kind of curse. It's gonna go cute.
Không ơi mơ.
Xà thù.
Right. I feel like my life is a video game. And actually, the interesting thought too is typically video games are actually for are virtuous for poor kids because you don't have a self-employed father to take you around on adventures. Therefore, you're kind of relegated to being stuck in a fantasy world. So fantasy is fantasy, fantastical, phonetic, to see. I mean, I think fantasy is good for imagination. Like, you know, I also grew up to Star Wars, science fiction. I'm like, was really into Boba Fett, like super into Boba Fett. And as a consequence, yeah, I mean, obviously it's good for my creative X-Wings and lightsabers and stuff, right? But anyways, you know, now that we're older and wiser, I think it's tricky because there's a fine line between like some sort of reverence or, you know, creativity from the past, especially when you're a kid, but at the same time you're an adult now, so you're a little bit wiser. You learn the real you know, root of education and stuff like that. And as a consequence, yeah, you just become more critical Bitcoin, criticality, critical hit, Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, get over here. Actually, ever since I was a kid, I was always into Ice, Sub-Zero. Remember being Sub-Zero as a kid. Scorpion, I mean, Scorpion was cool, but never really my jam. Ice Dragons, and also Gyarados. Yeah, when I was a kid, like, dark blue was definitely my favorite color. Anyways, so I think the reason why philosophizing about Bitcoin is so fascinating is obviously we've already kind of manifested our destiny. We should at least be happy, grateful, and proud of our big victories. And I think then the question is, what are the next steps moving forward? Assuming that, you know, we were in the right or whatevs, right? And move forward. So, some thoughts. Any family that puts themselves in the Bitcoin standard, I think, could first and foremost magically 10x their income. Now, the reason why this is a big deal is because the reason why this is a big deal is when you're thinking about the so the reason why this matters is assuming on the Bitcoin standard you could magically 10x the income of early on. So okay, simple strategies. You essentially like reduce your costs in life to an absolute minimum, like Ultra, Zen Monk, Cyber Monk, Spartan mode. Imagine King Leonidas meets a John Wick, Kim, Tyler Durden Fight Club, Bitcoin Club, Bit Club aesthetic. And it's kind of an aesthetic. ASCETIC, ascesis training, ascesis, Greek, and you just pour all your money into Bitcoins, and now you can just use whatever local currency. I mean, the tricky thing is, at least here in Cambodia, there are certainly local exchanges, but all of them seem super effing shady. So as a consequence, yeah, I don't trust none of them. I mean, Coinbase seems good, but once again, cross-country connectivity issues is that, like, for example, even if you could VPN in a Coinbase account here, most local Cambodian Khmer whatevs doesn't allow you to connect your account to it, so you can't actually buy the Bitcoins. So like, how do you even get the Bitcoins? So I think there's a big gray market. Peer-to-peer is just too cumbersome. It needs to be clean, clear, regulated. It needs to be a website or an app, web browser, or, you know, ideally mobile first, because, or even Telegram. Like, I mean, my big thought and vision is, let's say like in Cambodia, everyone uses Telegram and ABA Pay, right? You don't want people to download or install more stuff. Because A, people forget their passwords and logins or whatever, right? And then B, let's see, B, what was I saying? You don't want to make it complicated for people. Okay, so Telegram is essentially the God messaging app. It's like the epicenter. I actually would make the case that any country, including Cambodia, that has adopted the Telegram standard shall prosper. Consider that Korea is stuck in Kakao Talk, which sucks. Line, Japanese, which sucks. Even Thailand could be considered, you know, essentially a neo extension of Japan, because everyone uses Line, which is like super specifically Japanese. WhatsApp, you don't want to be using that, or Messenger. You don't want Mark Z's big sloppy member in your mouth. Facebook, don't use Facebook. It's call it no book. You want to decentralize. You don't want it. Like, think about it this way too. Like, if you're still on Instagram, please delete it. I mean, I might be a dummy, but every time you upload a photo to Facebook, Instagram, whatever, right? I think you're actually training the Meta AI. Probably. I mean, if Facebook ain't doing it yet, they're certainly losing out on something. I mean, also WhatsApp. Certainly, there's a hidden financial incentive there. Actually, you know, honestly, truth be told, is Mark Zuckerberg might be one of the most underrated entrepreneurs of all time, because like to have had the foresight to buy WhatsApp for $1 billion seemed like a lot of money at the time, but what now it's worth over $1 trillion. So he's yeah, shout out to Mark. He's definitely got some cojones, and he never sold his company. I mean, like, kudos to him. And like, how many people done cashed out? He's playing for the long game. I don't think the future is VR. It's certainly going to be a confluence of AI. You know, obviously Bitcoin. Bitcoin's actually more important than AI, because everyone, like, to follow from Sailor, everyone agrees that AI is a good idea. Nobody agrees that Bitcoin's a good idea. And so, I mean, AI, ChatGPT, just get the pro version, the expensive one. Don't be a cheapo. And yeah, like anything that you could be like a quote content producer for Bitcoin seems to be pretty obvious. And what's kind of elegant is Iran is going to bring their own flavor towards the Bitcoin ecosystem. And even in the next 20 years, it's not going to be adopted that much. Like, it's still going to be a fringe asset, although more mainstream. It's always going to be controversial, which makes it good. I think that lit this really fast. Vision. Notice this orange too. I see everything in orange and red. That's Dragon Ball Z colors, Super Saiyan mode. Bitcoin is essentially like the Dragon Balls. There's only 21 million of them on the planet. Get them all you can. And yeah, like, yeah, and then it becomes philosophical. I think some openings that I see people have not done yet. There needs to be more Bitcoin velociraptors, Bitcoin photographers. Shout out to Oliver Crooms, das hast du gut gemacht. Bitcoin street talks, Bitcoin and street, like anything plus Bitcoin is like good, right? Even thinking about opportunity costs in Bitcoin, all of it is quite virtuous. And also being able to be levered long while you're in affordable country like Phnom Penh is genius, because you magically 10x your income, lower your expenses by 10x, and your life also gets at least 10x better. And therefore it's like a super obvious win-win-win-win. It's like a triple levered effect, right? It's like steroids on steroids on steroids on steroids on steroids. Like if you could take, you know, Goku Super Saiyan 2 God mode and then, you know, power him with Bitcoin, he's just like a cyber god at this point, right? What, Super Saiyan God mode instinct? Like, I don't even know all the details, right? And yeah, like the more I think about it, the more that I think it's a good idea is that, we already see it happening right now. Like Bitcoin is like an elevator to cyberspace. All of it is just going to keep going up to cyberspace and become decentralized. And you think about some big things. I'll also make some hot predictions too. I'm like pretty sure JD Vance is going to win the next presidential election, because I like him. Everyone loves him. He's intelligent, strong, handsome, charming. And I think he also used to own Bitcoin, or he still does. And so the ethics of Bitcoin is like, gold is kind of a non-controversial thing. So for example, if your family owns gold slivers, right? And you tell other people to buy gold, it's fine because it's a commodity. It's like telling people they should buy oil or soybeans, right? It's good. It's only unethical if you're like Vitalik, who could just print Ethereums on demand. Or like, it's actually like almost like if you, the US government, you encourage people to save in US dollars, because once again, you could just print more ad infinitum, into infinity. So Bitcoin is pretty non-controversial. Everyone agrees on it. I think even China knows that it's the way forward. The only reticence of China right now is, I think they're pretty cautious. So they're piloting or testing it in like probably like Macau, Hong Kong, cross-border Shenzhen, etc. And everyone wants Bitcoin to win. I mean, the Chinese government, they own Bitcoin. I mean, think about it, right? Everyone wants it to win, and it's pretty non-controversial. I think the only thing that's difficult is people don't like the volatility, but then again, everyone wants the McLaren or the Lambo. That's a very volatile machine that I'd imagine breaks down quite frequently. Yeah, so if you want to thrive in this brave new world, you want the strongest thing on the planet that cannot be stuck in traffic. I mean, even yesterday, went to the Phnom Penh airport on the way back. Oh my God, worst traffic of my life. I haven't been stuck in traffic for like almost like 6 months. And yeah, and so some simple thoughts. Do things or build things or make things that cannot be bound by traffic, the laws of physics, or gravity. Bitcoin is beyond gravity because it's in cyberspace. What's interesting is cyberspace is still governed by electricity and power and computers, which makes it the strongest cyber defense system on the planet. Like for example, you know, Chinese people could, probably hack into some sort of American governmental FDIC institutions. Nobody, even if you had all the money in the world, could hack into the Bitcoin system. Ethereum's already been hacked. Everything's been hacked. I'm sure Solana will or has been hacked already too. So everything which is hackable is not good. And there's like a big bounty. It's like the ultimate Ready Player One bounty is that if you get access to all the Bitcoins, Satoshi's wallet, you're going to become the richest person on the planet by far. So what are some next step forwards? Buy Bitcoin, start Bitcoin companies, keep your eyes on the horizon, and greater danger, greater fates.